Well, I'd been looking for an excuse to talk about this group of twasics, and this has given me the perfect excuse of all, with some extra stuff sprinkled on top I wasn't expecting in the slightest. But let's be real here, this group is full of fucking brainless morons. Not to mention hypocrites and disgusting Burks. And ISWV Reports is a terrific case to look at, and this should kinda help. RoboKnight tagged someone in a tweet to call them a dumbass, to which ISWV Reports called it targeted harassment. What fucking planet are you living on? That is not harassment. I've actually never seen him do any targeted harassment. And looking at the tweet Robo had made, he's calling said person a dumbass due to lack of research into how to become a member of Hololive and Ninja Senaji, where you have to be at least 18. So he's not targeting harassment with what he's doing. At the very least, it's just rude. So the fact you somehow confuse that for targeted harassment kinda says to me that you don't know what the fuck you are talking about. Because that clearly isn't targeted harassment what Robo is doing. And W Sakura makes a pretty good point and observation about you twits conspiring to report him. Look, I'll admit it, RoboKnight doesn't always have the best takes on things. He thought vegans and vegetarians were the same thing, and we had to explain the difference between the two. And this little point is also a very valid thing to highlight. And here's the answer. It's you, ISWV Reports, and any other twat who acts like you. And before you start bitching about my language and saying this video's targeted harassment, first of all, spare me the bullshit, and secondly, this is how I talk. Also, back to you, even if you construe it as harassment, it's not targeted harassment, so shut the fuck up, you clueless idiot. I'm not going to respond to this just because I am not getting into it, and I ain't this one due to lack of proper context, and I cannot be fucked looking for it. Although you called Robo a douche, and Robo was clearly making a point as to why this sounds so fucking stupid. Also, simply just calling someone a douche is not criticism. If that qualifies for criticism, then pissing on someone's pillow qualifies for abuse. And let's point this stupidity out. If you are literally issuing mass reporting at Robo or anyone else in the ISWV for stupid fucking reasons like them standing up for Vic, which is something I'm going to address later, then they have every fucking right to play victim. You guys are known for being degenerates. There's a fuck ton of evidence. There is so much fucking wrong with you people, and this kinda proves my point that you guys don't know shit. Robo called the guy a dumbass and said that and did no fucking research. It's rude, but at the same time does kind of fall under criticism, as he's saying that person didn't do any research into what they were talking about. And what are you even proving here? Robo is basically making a statement how if you want to beat KickVic, then knock yourself out. And when you take a look at all the evidence about KickVic and how you people act, then you are really bad people. So this tweet you made is kinda just WTF. And let me point something out here. I'm not I stand with Vic, but I'm also not KickVic either. But I'm gonna get to all this later on and said. And show me proper evidence of any ISVW actually harassing. And I mean proper harassment. Not someone who's an I stand with Vic supporter that you don't agree with due to the fact. And this, yeah. Keep that in the back of your mind for a sec. Although, as I said, what Robo did here was rude, and that's the most of it. Also, what fucking harassment posts? I follow the fucker, and he has never made a harassment post. Ever. He should have just given his thoughts on things at the very most. Also hold this bit in the back of your minds too. And you are a hypocrite. Also, if you are gonna hold one accountable for said actions, then actually just bring up what they said, explain your issue with it, and then just piss off. However, if this did happen, then yeah, even I would hold him accountable. But because I talk with him, I understand what his thoughts are on people using pronouns, which is... Okay, I forgot. But I don't really think he truly gets it, and thinks it's just stupid, which... I'm somewhat on his side-ish? But at the end of the day, if that's what you want to do, then fine. I don't care, I'll respect it. And as for the lying... Well, I need context on this as to what tweets he was calling you out for lying. But this... Piss off, mate. And... What? How does that make any sense? Now to address something I mentioned about harassment, if you remember. ISWV Reports made a poll practically asking who to mass report after doing so to Razor. And this is where the hypocrisy comes in. He had to go for Robo Knight for targeted harassment, but him making a fucking poll with names on who to do it to next is perfectly a-okay. If that's not evidence of someone being a total hypocrite, then quite frankly, you need to get your eyes checked. Because it is, and it kinda doesn't help when he says that there are a lot of other people to do this to. All of whom I'm highly guessing are ISWV supporters. And if you guys are gonna act like fuckwits and be disgusting, then expect to be name-called. And don't fucking act like you people don't do the same bloody thing. And back to your poll, I don't blame the names you listed to go private, because this is the very definition of targeted harassment. I got so frustrated and annoyed, especially since the dude was being a moron and a pointless asshat to Robo, I decided to make a whole Twitter thread, which I don't do often, in fact I hardly ever make tweets, in response to the whole thing, which you can see here. I even pointed out in it I don't overly agree with every take Robo has. Hell, I even told that to Vegan Gates when I went on a livestream last year. I even pointed out that if ISWV Reports doesn't agree with him, say so and fuck off. Seriously, is that so fucking hard for people to do nowadays? I also said it to ISWV Reports to, and I quote, "Stop acting like a fucking soft crybaby with a brain smaller than a leprechaun's testicle." And I think somehow the whole thread got lost in translation. ISWV Fails co-tweeted my tweet saying how people in the ISWV are mad about the poll, and there are at least two issues here. The first issue is that this person is calling me an ISWV supporter when I have said I am not. The second issue is that this Twitter thread I made wasn't even talking about the poll. I had no fucking relation to it. It was simply me having a go at ISWV Reports for telling people to mass report Robo Knight when all he did was tag someone to call that person a dumbass and that they did no research. Again, it's rude at best. That's what this thread was about. It had nothing to do with a stupid poll. I didn't even really see the poll until after I made the thread. And let's be real here, Smeghead. I'm far more mature than you because I'm not pussy enough to make a stupid fucking poll listing people to mass report just because you got your feelings hurt. This isn't kindergarten, mate. And speaking of polls, gonna immediately address that this is just wrong on so many levels. Because this is very much crossing the line. I don't know who Ron Toy is, but the other names I've heard of, big time. And they don't deserve to get COVID. I wouldn't even wish that on INRs, and that dude's a fucking moron which has been proven time and time again. And even ISWV supporters don't agree with the poll. Even they think that's too far and out of order. Look, let's be real here, no matter what community you join, there will always be those few people who are what we call extremists. You even have those type of people in the vegan community, she's a top example, and they just end up hurting the community rather than helping it. I will admit that there are people within the ISWV group that take things way too far and should be shut down. I think even Vic himself would agree, as he stated to his supporters not to interact with these plebs. But there are those who cannot help it and will always try to defend him and followers from harassment and hypocrites. Honestly, you can't overly have a go at them. It's not something they can overly control. And I'm kind of the same way, hence this video. I'm not with the ISWV group, but I'm also not with KickVic. Especially since the court case was bullshit, which I'll talk about later on. In my personal opinion, the only people who truly deserve to be reported are actual harassers, which Robo calls ISWV Reports and ISWV Fails. And I think he'd even say the same about BT. This, yes, you can argue is more targeted harassment than straight up addressing. I'll admit that. However, criticizing? Yes, criticizing people you don't agree with by making posts that mass report said people. To quote a dose of Buckley, "Well done, you dumb cunt." Also, I pointed this crap out already. This is like Einar's reading shit to help prove his point by misreading it and misconstruing it as it somehow proving him in the right when it does the complete opposite. Now, I'm not really active much on Twitter, hence my small following, but ISWV, you have a little over 70 followers. And Leader of the Stitch has 62. W Sakura has 100 followers, Dr. Ash has 170, Shiny has 578, Robo has 536, and Exile has over 700. They all have more followers than the both of you. ISWV Fails has more followers than you, mate. Speaking of Dr. Ash, they're not wrong here. You have a pop at Robo or someone else in the ISWV community for targeted harassment. Yet you have done the same fucking thing with this bloody poll. This is not only hypocritical, but double standards. I don't care what excuse you try and make. You cannot bitch at a group of people for something you are doing yourself. And this kinda is encouraging targeted harassment. At least that's what I'm assuming from the comments that I found on this stupid poll thread you made. This is the only one I can kinda give an okay to because of the doxing part. I don't know shit about this bit. Could do with proof of that. ISWV also addressed what the poll was about and listed that Shiny was a pedo who called a Korean woman a dog eater, which if you did your research you'd know that Koreans do eat dogs. Still doesn't make it acceptable what was said, I'm not that fucking thick in the head. But W Sakura disproves what ISWV reports said by telling people to check their timeline to find anything that qualifies as harassment. It tells me these people are talking bullshit. Also, this is funny how Lilo is name-dropping Ash Vogan because they hurt their feels. Also, back to this, I want to thank W Sakura for providing me this about WSV reports. This was originally what they had pinned, and it doesn't help when you don't properly provide actual evidence of Vic supporters harassing. Because simply tagging someone, calling them a dumbass, and that they don't do research is not harassment. Anyone with an actual working brain will tell you that. There was nothing about Robo Knight's tweet that was remotely close to being reportable. At most, it was just rude. Misconstruing it as harassment when it clearly fucking isn't is just bloody ignorant and idiotic. I don't agree with every single take Robo Knight has, but I know he's not this horrid person harassing everyone that these twits are trying to make him out to be. Now allow me to do some defense of KickVic. Anyone who does stupid shit like this is just a moron. I'm sorry, but you are. I get the fact it's meant to be a joke and funny, but personally, I don't overly find it funny. If anything, I find it disgusting and completely childish. And I don't really think you do anything for the group. Pretty sure even Vic himself wouldn't be happy with it. I get that this isn't meant to be offensive and just a bit of harmless fun, but I personally don't like it. I just think it's immature and stupid. Now let's be real here, KickVic. You guys are not this great group of people you claim to be. You people have gone so fucking low when it comes to Vic and his supporters. Hell, you keep on bitching at places for hosting Vic because you believe idiots who claim bollocks that hasn't been truly proven in court. Yes, it did go to court, but it got a dismissal. And that's the issue with Judge Chup. He dismisses cases without actually looking at the evidence because, I don't know, he'd rather be balls deep drinking a cappuccino while talking about a weather girl who hasn't spotted is actually a drag. He's gotten a shit ton of flack for that. Hell, the dude convicted a kid to jail. Chup saw no evidence from plaintiffs or defendants and just had it thrown out, and KickVic morons are calling that a win. Win my ass. But even if you gloss over that and focus on KickVic itself, you'll see that they're not the greatest bunch of people. When they come to you and tell you that I'm spouting shit in this video, at least I'm not issuing fucking death threats. At least I'm not wishing death on your idols. At least I'm not impersonating people's dead family. Unlike you fuckers. Seriously, look at this shit. This was provided to me by Exile 1994, and quite frankly, it's disgusting what you fuckwits do. Mass Effect 888 called Exile an exaggerating piece of shit and brittle spirit after Exile told Monica Riol about what happened to them, to which I seriously feel bad and apologize for you having to go through that shit. Then you get FXK Dreaming literally wishing death on Vic Minogue and his fans. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but wishing something like that on someone is very much against the site's terms of service. You were literally wishing harm to someone. Hell, not even harm. You were wishing for someone to die. Whether this person is joking or not, I don't care. This is unacceptable. And then the last bit, which is... Exile informed me that their dad sadly passed away from COVID, and then not only were KickVic using their grief to tell them that ISWV were manipulating them, and then not only did they continuously harass them even after Exile had told them to stop countless times, but some Burke took it way too far and impersonated their dead dad. Twice! And how do they respond to it when it got addressed? By using the "we insult you because we care" tactic, when if they did truly care, they'd have respected Exile's wishes and shut the fuck up when asked the first time. And need I talk about this demented chick? While Exile was talking about how low KickVic had gone, they also told me about this person. One Amanda Wynn Lee, a voice actress who is a total psychopath who wished rape on a teenage girl, encouraged the guy to commit suicide when he asked if he should, which, by the way, I've had friends who have contemplated suicide, and I've had thoughts myself, and I've never told them to actually go for it. I've always talked them out of it as best I can, and they are still here to this day, which I am truly thankful for. She's also threatened to flay people who criticize her, publicly humiliated her own goddamn fucking son multiple times, but has also caused problems at every single convention and event she has ever attended. Hell, at one convention, she roasted Vic and Ty, and everyone walked out. And the point of a roast is basically what you see here from Exile. I mean, just look at these screenshots. How the fuck is none of this what she's saying against Twitter's TOS? It should be against it. And I'm just gonna point this out. Amanda adopts people who have lost their parents and acts like an internet mom. Lady, seeing how you act, I wouldn't even want you as an internet aunt. I mean, you publicly humiliated your real son multiple times. On social media! You have to be one of the most shittiest mothers alive if that's what you have done. And to every KickVic idiot out there, a question. Why the fuck are you defending this turd? DZ Douglas is a fucking creep. I mean, he recorded himself sneaking into a woman's restroom while there were people in there, with a really stupid fucking hashtag, and he also tried coming onto a young lady who was fucking uncomfortable. Seriously, this guy cannot be defended by that shit. This guy is quite clearly a fucking creep. Just look what this lady thought of it. And he wasn't listening! Fucking creep. I honestly don't give a toss if these people hate this video. If they get butthurt by me exposing them for being just outright disgusting, then quite frankly, that's more of a them problem than a me problem. Because let's be honest here, if they're gonna be morons that commit targeted harassment as well as be disrespectful bigots, then quite frankly, you are fair game. Very much so. And to try and protect themselves from this shit, ISWV supporters are having to go private. What these people are doing is very much targeted harassment. They are the ones who should be reported, because targeted harassment is against terms of service. And if these smegheads are oblivious to their own actions, then that seriously says something. I mean, Christ, do you people have others creating new accounts to infiltrate and spy on these people? Kinda tells me you people have clearly nothing better to do with your time other than simp for Monica, berate places for hosting Vic, and have a go at every single one of Vic's followers in an attempt of getting them all terminated. Especially when you set rules for others to follow while mocking others' values. And there is one person who I very much am aware of named BT, but I'll be saving him for another video. To every ISWV supporter, I suggest following this guy's advice and ignore these KickVic smegheads. It's been going on for 3 fucking years. If you deal with these idiots, just ignore them, report them for targeted harassment, block, and move on. And as for me, I'm not done here. Not even close to it. Because if these KickVic people got upset at me for calling out their BS, just wait for what comes next. Because that will have them rioting in the streets with pitchforks and torches. You people love to talk shit and have a go at Vic Minoga. But let's see how you all act when your queen has all her dirty shit brought to light. I'll see you then.